Welcome back to the Master Your Money podcast with me, Marini Jackson, your guide to mastering credit, building wealth, and creating financial freedom. Let's dive into today's episode. So, today we're going to talk about the number one mistake people make with money. A common financial trap that people make is not budgeting. I have met numerous people who do not know how to budget, and one of the biggest things I've found is for some people, particularly some of my clients I've had who are married, some of them say, "Oh, I don't manage the finances for the house. My husband does that." And they know nothing about the finances for their home. In some cases, some of those clients unfortunately have had their spouses get injured, become ill, and also in one case where a spouse, the two spouses were getting divorced, and not knowing your budget for your home is definitely something you want to make sure that you are doing. It's even more important that you are having financial conversations with your loved ones, because in the case where, especially if you're married, if your spouse passes away and that spouse is the one who knew about the finances for your household, you could unfortunately be in for a rude awakening, meaning that you may not be able to access accounts. You may not know of all of the accounts that your spouse had and whether or not you have access to that, especially in cases where your spouse becomes ill or they pass away. This is definitely very important. So, in order to make sure that you are budgeting, you want to first have a conversation with all of the stakeholders. In this case, that can be your spouse, if you have roommates, or if you're perhaps living with a sibling, things of that nature. You want to make sure that you are budgeting, that you know exactly how much income is coming into the household and how much money is going out of the household in the form of expenses. You want to write this information down. I know some people love, apps, spreadsheets, but I'm going to be honest, I am a good old-fashioned pen and paper type of person. And what I've found is that by writing down the actual budget line items for myself, that it is very helpful. And I can also print out my credit card statements and all of my bank statements as well to find out exactly where my money is going. If you're someone who is working a job for someone else, or even if you're self-employed, you want to know how often income is coming into your home. Are you paid once a month? Are you paid weekly? Are you getting your money or resources coming to your house every 2 weeks? So knowing these things are very important. Also, when you're budgeting, your income minus your expenses, if that number is a negative number, meaning that you are spending more money and more money is going out of your household than you have coming in, this is why you are budgeting. You want to first be aware, number one, aware of all of the expenses for your household, aware of how much money is coming into your household, and aware whether or not there's a deficit. In some cases, some people, when there is a large deficit, they begin relying on their credit too much. And this is how some people can accumulate a lot of credit card debt because they are not living within their means. So to correct this, you want to look at your bank statement, your credit card statement, and see where your money's going. I love to use the highlighter method, meaning I'm using different color highlighters. For instance, I'll use one color for my essential expenses, and that would be my home, my food, making sure that I'm paying for insurance, electricity, like utilities, things of that nature. And then items that are perhaps wants, you can color that another color. And if there are other categories that you have, for instance, if you're putting away money for savings, if you're having those dollar amounts as automatic withdrawals, you will be able to color that a different color as well. And it's very interesting to see by color in black and white where your money is going. Some people may say, no, I really don't eat out that much. But when you look at your credit card statement and you see that you have a committed relationship to Starbucks or your local coffee shop, and also see how much you're spending, then that can definitely be eye-opening. Also, you want to make sure that if your paycheck is, or if you're working for yourself, your means of getting paid, that you are coordinating the monies that you're receiving, your income, with your payment dates for your particular creditors or the companies you're paying. And this is important because if you are paying your creditors late, you are accumulating late fees. And those late fees sometimes can be anything from $20, $25, $30 or more. And that is money that is leaking out of your monthly budget that does not have to leak out. So if you notice that you're being paid on, for instance, the second and fourth Friday of the month, but your bills are due the first and third Fridays, consider contacting your mortgage company, your electric company, your water company, things of that nature, and ask them if they can move your payment date so it more coincides with the date that you're getting paid. So that way you are not having money go out of the door, extra money in the form of late fees, but you are also making sure that you are not having a negative impact on your credit score. When you fall into the financial trap of not budgeting, you can actually be overspending. And what we want to do is make sure that we are spending with purpose, that we are budgeting with purpose as well. So, just as a recap, when we're not budgeting, we're falling into the mistake of leaving the financial budget for our households into someone else's hands. That can definitely have detrimental effects if we are not aware. Also, when we're not budgeting, then we are not able to maybe give the way we want to. I am a very big advocate of making sure that we are first honoring God with our finances. As a Christian, you're definitely giving our tithes, which is 10% of our gross income, back to the Lord. And for me, that means that I am giving to my local church that I am a member of and faithfully serve in, but also giving offerings that I have money in my budget that I can save for a rainy day, because believe it or not, it's going to rain one day, and that rain can be in the form of you needing new tires for your car, you needing to purchase a major appliance or a major system in your home, such as your heating and air, your electrical, your plumbing. All of these items can potentially, break or need to be repaired, and you want to be prepared so that when you have that repair or replacement, that you are not putting all of those expenses on a credit card, which could potentially damage your credit in the long run. And when you're making smart choices with your budget, then that helps you to live a more peaceful and calm life. I have personally been someone who used to not budget and wonder where my money went. I would get paid on Friday, and by Sunday, I'd given my tithes, given an offering, put gas in the car, maybe treated myself to a lunch or dinner. And by the time Monday morning rolled around, would find myself wondering exactly where my money went, and knowing like I got paid, but this money is not lasting. So I highly encourage you to start budgeting. It's not as difficult as you think it is. Again, as I said, you want to have your income written out for the month, your anticipated income, your expenses, and then by category, making sure that you are listing out where your money will be going for the month. And you want to make sure you are giving every single dollar an assignment, whether that assignment is you're going in my savings account, you're going to Mr. Electric Company, you're going to the water company. And when you do that, you, again, like I said, you have more peace of mind, and it helps you to make sure you're keeping more money in your pockets that you do not have to pay because you're paying late fees. If this has been helpful to you, I encourage you to go to my website, www.virtuefinancialsolutions, and you can download a free budget tracker to help you get started on your budget. I do also want to say with budgeting, some people use things such as zero-based budgeting. The latest one I personally heard of someone saying that they use or they tell their clients to use is basically with the budget, that person was saying with the first paycheck or paychecks for the month, those are allocated towards the essentials, the housing, your shelter, your electricity, water, food, things of that nature. But the last paycheck or paychecks of the month, that person would actually spend that in whatever way they desire. Now, I will say this as well. I have been what I personally call an Armageddon budgeter, where I got my paycheck, gave tithes, and whatever other items that I needed to pay for. This was at a time when I was living at home with my mother as an adult. And I would, again, as I said, tithe, put the gas in the car, pay whatever essential bills, but I was not saving at all. So when it came time for me to purchase a home for myself, I had some savings, like very, very little savings. I paid off debts, and that was my main focus, was paying off debt, but I did not make saving a priority. So make that a priority. That's a bonus tip that I want to give. Make sure you are including savings as a line item in your budget. Some people do a percentage. Some people may say, I want to start out with 10% of my take-home pay and let that be what I'm putting into savings. Others, you may have to start a little smaller with a particular dollar amount, whether it's $5, $10, $20, whatever your budget will allow. The consistency will definitely pay off. when you're consistently budgeting, it will become very easy and like clockwork. On my social media, I recently had a reel where I shared that it takes me about 10 minutes to create my budget. Now, going from someone who really didn't budget very much to the Armageddon budgeter to now making sure that I am including savings in my budget. Yeah, I've definitely come a long way, and it doesn't matter where you're starting now, whether you may be dipping your toe into budgeting, or you are a budgeting pro. This is a common mistake that people are making with their money. But again, before we leave, I again will put it in the comments as well, or in the description, that you can go to my website, www.virtuefinancialsolutions.org, and you can download your free budget tracker to help you get started on your budget. So I hope that you have gained some value from today's episode with the Master Your Money podcast. I want to thank you for tuning in. And if today's episode has helped you, be sure that you subscribe so you don't miss a new lesson on mastering your money. And again, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a review, leave comments below, and share this podcast with a friend who you know is ready to build their financial freedom. And check out on my website, I do have some other great resources for you that will help you on your financial journey. So until next time, remember that you just don't manage your money, you master your money.